The Life of Ozzy Osbourne, a tribute to, includes strong language and scenes and descriptions that may be upsetting to some viewers. Ozzy, the great Oz, the madman, the Prince of Darkness and the godfather to heavy metal. He was indeed a major contributing pioneer and co-founder in the creation of heavy metal music, although Ozzy himself always liked to refer to it as just rock music, saying back in the day it was always just rock music. Described as an English singer, songwriter and media personality who rose to fame mainly in the 1970s as the lead vocalist to the rising rock band Black Sabbath, previously known as the Polka Tulk Blues Band, and then Earth, which Ozzy just hated, but they ultimately landed on the darker name of Black Sabbath, inspired by the 1963 Italian horror film of the same name. Even the font looks the same. Ozzy also played a huge role in bringing forth the blow-up of reality TV, specifically following famous families, with his own family's TV show called The Osbournes, shown on MTV from 2002 to 2005, where the public got a very up-close and personal view of Ozzy and some of his family members, including his wife and manager Sharon, and kids Kelly and Jack. This show was hugely successful, cited as the most viewed series ever on MTV. Wow, just a little family from Birmingham. John Michael Osbourne came into this world at the maternity hospital in Marston Green on the 3rd of December 1948. He grew up in an area called Aston, which is in the inner Birmingham area of the West Midlands, here in England. Situated just 11 miles from Birmingham International Airport, and only around an hour or so from where I live too. His mother was named Lillian, who was a non-observant Catholic and worked for one of the world's oldest continuously trading automotive brands, Lucas Industries, or Lucas Automotive. His father, named John Thomas Jack Osbourne, worked night shifts as a toolmaker at what was a major British company called General Electric Company, or GEC. I always do that. He had 5 siblings in total, 3 older sisters called Jean, Iris and Gillian, and 2 younger brothers, Paul and Tony. He actually gained the nickname Ozzy when he was in primary school, initially meant as a taunt and form of bullying by other kids at his school. Rather than let it get to him, the future Black Sabbath vocalist and star chose to embrace the name instead. He suffered a lot with dyslexia at school, which made him a target of bullying, bless his soul.
I always wanted my parents to be proud of me, so I never did anything worth a shit at school because I'm incredibly dyslexic, and I have my concentration span is very short. What's that call that? Whatever.
Major attention deficit disorder.
People hear my voice, talking voice, and go, "What's he saying? I can't understand what he's saying." It's just that I come from a little place in England called Birmingham, and it's a Birmingham accent, you know. And when I get excited, I tend to stammer a little bit, you know. I just wrecked my brain cells a while. I'm not proud of having a poor education. I'm not proud of being dyslexic and having attention deficit disorder. Can you get me some equal? I'm not proud of being a drug addict, alcoholic. I'm not proud of a lot of things, but I'm a real guy, you know, with real feelings, and I suppose that kind of scares me sometimes, you know. To be Ozzy Osbourne, it could be worse. I could be Sting.
And unfortunately, he was also the victim of sexual abuse. But not by the teachers, no, by 2 other boys at his school. He was around 11 years old when it began. He said it occurred after school and on the way home. On a regular basis, he would suffer from sexual abuse repeatedly. Afraid to inform his parents at the time, he left it to fester in the background almost his entire life. Only in recent years coming to terms with the prolonged emotional effects and torment that it had on him. Actually attempting suicide multiple times as a teenager because of the trauma from his bullies. Just horrific. Parents, please talk and communicate with your children to always inform them of anything like this, as anything that happens early on in life could be seriously detrimental to one's future and mental state. Ozzy has always loved to perform from a young age, participating in school plays such as Gilbert and Sullivan's The Mikado. Now, the band that changed everything for young Ozzy was of course the amazing English rock band The Beatles. Formed in Liverpool in 1960, at age 14 he became a huge fan of them, hearing their first hit single. He later credited the Beatles' 1963 song She Loves You as inspiring him to actually become a musician himself, also saying that the Beatles made him release that he was going to be a rock star for the rest of his life. He was right, guys.
If I could be somebody for one day, I'd like to be Paul McCartney or John Lennon, because they lit the flat torch in my head. When I heard the Beatles, I thought, I want to be a Beatle. So I became Ozzy Osbourne, nothing like the Beatles. I thought the only way to get out is to get money, because my mother and father would argue a lot over having not much money to go around. And so I thought, I'll either be a bank robber, or then I discovered the Beatles, and I thought, that's it, I'll become one of the Beatles. I wanted to be a Beatle. I never made it though. and that's kind of gave me the charge to want to be in music, you know. Yeah. And I had the honour of meeting Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, and I said to Paul McCartney, I said, you know, I owe my career to you and the rest of the guys. Because
when you heard that one song,
She Loves, when I heard She Loves You, I was off, and I used to collect everything with the Beatles.
He left the Prince Albert School of Birmingham at age 15, where he went on to do various jobs and trades, like a construction site labourer and apprentice toolmaker, like his dad. Also, he was a trainee plumber, a car factory horn tuner, and of all things, then randomly, a slaughterhouse worker. He got himself into a bit of trouble around age 17, where he was convicted of stealing from a clothes shop and was unable to pay his fine. To teach the young man a lesson, his father, John Thomas, just straight up refused to pay it off. Fair enough, man's gotta learn. As a result, Ozzy would spend 6 weeks in Winson Green Prison, a Category B prison in the Birmingham area. He had a total of more than 15 tattoos, the first of which were the letters OZZY, or for my American viewers, OZZY, across the knuckles of his left hand. Very unconventionally, the madman decided to create this himself when he was a teenager, using a fucking sewing needle and pencil lead. Oh my god, that makes me feel sick. A hint of some of the future crazy antics to come. Ozzy was a long-time fan of the comedy troupe Monty Python, and in a 2010 interview with US Weekly, he stated that my favourite movie is Monty Python's Life of Brian, a 1979 British biblical comedy written by Monty Python themselves. In total, and for some a total shock, Ozzy actually had 6 children altogether. 3 were from his first marriage, and the others were of course Sharon Osbourne's children. It was back in the year of 1971 when the page boy haircut and the tragic short bobs were all the rage, when Ozzy met his first wife, Thelma Riley. Back when she worked at a Birmingham nightclub, the Rum Runner, on Broad Street. It was quite a whirlwind romance, and they were married later the same year. Ozzy would go on to adopt her then 5-year-old son from her previous marriage, who has pretty much stayed out of the public eye his entire life. Born in 1966, making him 59 now, right? Apparently, he has worked as an actor, a theatrical actor, I believe, and as a member of the Everyman Company, which is a media group cinema company based in London, England. He is committed to promoting drama to young people and has always been very passionate about theatre, so his career has mainly been built on the performance. Ozzy's first blood-born child was Louis. He arrived in this world in the year of 1975. He did make a few appearances on their reality show, but stayed mainly out of the public eye. He has made his career in being a producer and DJ, spanning 18 years on the underground music scene, classed as an international DJ and music producer. He's played on 6 continents across the globe and gained major success as a label owner and broadcaster too, starting his working life at a record shop in Birmingham. Ozzy's next born was his first daughter, called Jessica Sunshine Osbourne. No, it isn't. Jessica Starshine Osbourne. I did it again. See, I'm sure I'm dyslexic. She entered the world on November the 22nd of 1979 in Grimsby, England. Jessica has managed to also stay very out of the public eye, whilst also being right in it. She made a career in acting, directing and producing. He made some talented kids, eh guys? She displayed and demonstrated her exceptional versatility and creativity in her various roles, and showcasing talent in a wide range of genres. Starring in films like the horror comedy Halloween from 2012 and the 2009 horror romance called Romeo and Juliet vs. the Living Dead, and also appearing in the famous Better Call Saul as a character named Lucianne. Better Call Saul's pretty popular.
Hey.
Hey.
You are not Kevin Costner.
I was last night.
Now, it's no secret that Ozzy suffered with alcohol and drug abuse. This, along with his frequent absence touring with Black Sabbath, seriously took their toll on his family life and relationships with his children, later referring to his first marriage as a terrible mistake, with his firstborn children also stating that he was not a good father. I think he just jumped in too quick and hadn't had the chance to release his Prince of Darkness. It must have been so much to handle, touring the world with your band whilst trying to hold down a family life too. That's a lot for anybody. So back in the year of 1967, when the bigger the hair the better, the English musician Terence Michael Joseph Butler, better known as Geezer, formed his first band where he recruited Ozzy to be the singer. Seeing talent in the young man, the band was called Rare Breed. But they only managed to play 2 shows before they broke up. I mean, that's got to be a record right there, right? But they later reunited along with guitarist Anthony Frank Lomy Jr., otherwise known as Tony Lomy, and drummer William Thomas Ward, or just Bill Ward. They called themselves the Polka Tulk Blues, aiming to form a heavy blues rock band. Ozzy had actually placed an advertisement in a music shop saying, "Ozzy Zig needs gig, has own PA." The Polka Tulk Blues Band also included slide guitarist Jimmy Phillips, who was Ozzy's childhood friend, and saxophonist Alan Aker Clark, changing the band's name to Earth, which, as I said before, Ozzy just hated. But Lomy became concerned that both Phillips and Clark lacked the necessary dedication and were not taking the band seriously enough. So rather than asking them to leave, they instead broke up and then quietly reformed the band as a four-piece. In December of 1968, Lomi abruptly left Earth to join the Blackpool British rock band Jethro Tull, but returned by the end of the month. Random. Then, whilst playing shows in England in 1969, the band discovered that they were being mistaken for another English group named Earth. Left to change the name of their band once again, they found inspiration from a cinema across the street from the band's rehearsal room. They were showing the 1963 Italian horror film Black Sabbath. Geezer noted how he found it strange that people spend so much money to see scary movies.
People get this desire to see horror. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All it is a guy running around the house chopping people up with a chainsaw. And it was a big seller, you know. And all I'm doing is putting Halloween on the road every night.
Following this, Geezer and Ozzy would go on to write the lyrics for a song called Black Sabbath. It was both inspired by the horror film itself and an experience that Butler had, where he had a vision of a black silhouetted figure which had stood at the foot of his bed. Ooh, eerie. They made use of the musical tritone, also known as the Devil's Interval. A lot of head-banging metal bands capitalise on this tritone, because it is both rough on the ears and devilishly hard to sing. Displayed in the opening to the song Black Sabbath. An example of this style would be the amazing Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. What a tune. I love this one, as does my dad. Along with Black Sabbath and many more, was much my dad's style of music. And I myself love 60s and 70s, all different styles, and 50s too. In the opening of Purple Haze, where Jimmy's guitar trades off, described as discoordinately, in a way that produces an unpleasant sound apparently, with Noel Redding's bending bass notes, which I personally really love. The start is my favourite, so I guess I'm also partial to a bit of the Devil's Interval. But this was an example that someone else gave. I think there are many more darker examples of this being used. Black Sabbath, the song, starts with thunder and lightning, mixed with the sounds of rain and a church bell, I believe, so it begins dark from the start. Even the video feels pretty sinister. Ozzy sings fairly slow in this one, making use of the Devil's Interval throughout. The original is quite long, lasting around 7 minutes in total, only getting faster towards the end. The song's ominous sound and darker lyrics push the band ultimately into a darker direction, which really worked for them. This type of music being in stark contrast to the popular flower power, folk and hippie music of the 60s. A total different vibe that so many people were just ready and waiting for, including my pops. And in August of 1969, the band officially changed their name to Black Sabbath, and made the decision to focus on writing similar material in an attempt to create the musical equivalent to horror films. The band's first show under their new, darker name of Black Sabbath took place on the 30th of August in 1969 in a place called Workington, a coastal town of Cumbria, England, and was signed to Philips Record, a record label, in November of '69, recording their first single called Evil Woman, a cover of the song by the band Crow, which was an American blues rock band, at Trident Studios. It was released 9th of January 1970, but Evil Woman failed to chart, and the band were given just 2 days more studio time. But they pulled it out of the bag, and on 11th of November 1969, recording a 4-song session for John Peel's Top Gear radio show, broadcast on BBC Radio 1. This gave them their first exposure to a UK-wide audience. They released their debut album called Black Sabbath on Friday the 13th, 1970. I bet that was supposed to be ominous too. It reached number 8 in the UK album chart. Then, following its US and Canadian release in May of 1970, it reached number 23 on the Billboard 200, where it remained for over a year. The album is generally accepted as the first heavy metal album. My pops would have been around 17 at the time of its release, and he loved it so much that he personally saved up a week's wages from his delivering paper rounds, of which he had 2 rounds, all so he could purchase the ultimate, pretty much first ever heavy metal rock album. Bless my dad. He's a legend with great taste in music. Love you, Pops. It received a lot of criticism, though, from certain folk, mainly of the Christian faith, connecting it to the work of demons and devils. But it's clear the world loved a bit of the devil's interval and Ozzy's powerful, dark voice, mixed with that classic Brummy Birmingham accent that I think always comes through when he sings. Like, some people have a really strong accent and then when they sing, you can't hear it, but Ozzy, you can tell that he's a Brummy throughout, and I love that. Here in John Peel's interview with Black Sabbath in 1970, he asked the band about this sort of demon devil bullshit. And I think that might have been on the old grey whistle test. I'm not sure.
And it's interview time. I was leaping around at the back and almost missed that. Now, that song had a line in it about black masses, and the group's called Black Sabbath, and yet you disassociate yourself from the current black magic thing. How does that happen?
Well, we're nothing to do with black magic, you know. The words of the songs are just about the supernatural. Yeah. But we don't sort of practice this kind of thing and all this.
In other words, Black Sabbath's just a name. In other words, like Medicine Head aren't necessarily chemists. That's Black Sabbath.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, that's fair enough, is it? But you're getting lumbered with this whole thing, though, aren't you?
Yeah, we just sort of can't get away from it, you know. We're trying to, but people are just branding us with the black magic thing.
Expecting you to sacrifice virgins on stage and things. Okay, well, that's it then. Well, I'm sorry that happens to you, because it's not really fair, but I hope you'll be able to get away from it. And time is running out, in actual fact, so there's only time for one more number from the group, and that's the title track of the LP and also the group's name, Black Sabbath.
You see, it's like, for instance, talk about misinterpretation. I thought that Jimi Hendrix in Purple Haze sang "Excuse Me While I Kiss This Guy" for many years, and in fact he was singing "Excuse Me While I Kiss the Sky." And I remember when I had when me and that Howard Weissman went to that press reception, the guy turns around to me, one of the reporters. Now I'm crapping myself on this dais, and the guy, one of the reporters, turns to me and says, "Isn't it true that you sing in Paranoid, 'I tell you to end your life'?" And I says, "No." I said, in like 3 seconds I've got to go through this lyric in my head. I says, "No, you've got it wrong. I sing in that song, 'I tell you to enjoy life,' not end your life." If people only knew how we wrote that song. I mean, I didn't sit in a fucking dark room with salt round me and a dead bat and a frog's leg and I was drunk, as usual.
Their second single, Iron Man, is brilliant. I really like this one. Powerful from the beginning, and I can seriously appreciate this style of music. It remains one of their most popular songs to this day. It's great. Go give it a listen if you haven't already. Built around Tony Iommi's guitar riffs, Geezer's lyrics, Bill Ward's dark tempo drum beats, and topped off with Ozzy's eerie vocals, their debut album and second, Paranoid, were both commercially successful and gained considerable radio airplay. Paranoid was released 18th of September 1970. Paranoid has remained a fan favourite over the years. They would be seen performing this track on the Top of the Pops in 1970. War Pigs is one of my brother's favourite songs that Black Sabbath ever did, and that is also on this album. Ozzy did comment how in those days the band wasn't very popular with the women. It was at that time that Ozzy met his future wife and mother of his children, Sharon Arden. The band decided to choose Sharon's father, John Arden, as their manager, and at that time Sharon was working as his receptionist. John was an English music manager, agent and businessman. Ozzy said he was immediately attracted to the young woman and said that the best thing about choosing John as their manager was that he got to see Sharon regularly. But he assumed that she probably thought he was just a lunatic. I have no doubt she did, but I think she liked it. She definitely liked it.
Then after Germany, we then went to France. And again, the same thing, meet the record company, they take you out to dinner, and we're sat in this very nice restaurant, and he goes to the head of the record company, punch me. Punch me. And the guy's like this, eating away. He said, I said, punch me. Punch me now. And this guy's looking at me, and I said, oh, for fuck's sake.
I'll say to her, thank you, Sharon.
Carried on eating, and I'm like, that was it.
That's very French.
Only 5 months after the release of Paranoid, the band released the album Master of Reality, which includes songs like Children of the Grave, Orchid and Solitude, all with their own sort of menacing and sinister vibe, which Ozzy's voice just fits so perfectly with. I really like Solitude. Master of Reality, the album, reached top 10 in both the US and the UK, and was certified gold in less than 2 months. People really be getting into the dark, moody energy and tones now. Solitude is really quite delicate and beautiful, actually, and it's slow and smooth, and another really good one to listen to. Some of them don't even sound like they're Black Sabbath, and it's actually surprising just how beautiful some of them are to listen to. In the 1980s, Master of Reality received a platinum certification and went double platinum in the early 21st century. In September of 1972, the band released their album Black Sabbath Volume 4. It reached gold status in less than a month. Wow. And it was the band's 4th consecutive album to sell more than 1 million copies in the United States. So also people in America are loving a bit of Brummy Ozzy. November 1973 came the band's 5th album, named Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. It's been described as a masterpiece, essential to any heavy metal collection by All Music, and nothing less than a complete success by Gordon Fletcher of Rolling Stone. Their 6th album was called Sabotage, released July of 1975, the same year his first biological son was born. Their 7th and last album at the time was called Technical Ecstasy, September the 25th, 1976. But by this point, the band had begun unravelling, and at an alarming rate. Between late 1977 and early 1978, Ozzy left the band to pursue a solo project. Or was it 79? I'm not sure on that, I'm sorry. Which was aptly named Blizzard of Oz, a name of which his father had actually suggested. Oh, I love that. It was formed under the management of the Ardens. The Blizzard of Oz included guitarist Randy Rhoads, keyboardist Don Airey, and more. This commenced his solo career and work and brought Ozzy considerable personal success. Ozzy's second solo album was titled Diary of a Madman. This album is known for singles like Over the Mountain and Flying High Again, described in his autobiography as his favourite personal work. A tragedy took place, though, in March the 19th, 1982, when the band was in Florida for its Diary of a Madman tour. just a week shy of playing at Madison Square Garden in New York City. A light aircraft that was piloted by Andrew Aycock, who was actually the band's tour bus driver, and carrying both Randy Rhoads, the band's guitarist, and Rachel Youngblood, who was the costume and makeup artist. Andrew was performing low passes over the tour bus, when tragically Andrew Aycock completely misjudged the distance and his altitude to the bus, and ended up clipping it with the aircraft's left wing. Just the small encounter caused a horrific crash. It then grazed a nearby tree and hurtled into the garage of a mansion close by. This crash would take all 3 lives that day. Awful. A day of fun quickly turned to a day of multiple tragedies. Experiencing firsthand the horrifying death of his close friend and bandmate mainly sent Ozzy into a deep depression. As you can imagine, seeing it all go down in front of him and being completely helpless to do anything, this would affect pretty much anyone. The tour was cancelled as they all scrambled to try and replace the amazing guitarist Randy Rhoads. I believe he was only 26 when he died.
On that last bus journey from Knoxville, Tennessee to Orlando, Florida, he turned around to me and said he wanted to quit rock and roll. He wanted to go to UCLA and get a degree in classical guitar. And I said to him, "Well, you're fucking crazy or something. We just broke the ice, man. Wait until we get some success and some money under our belts before you do that. You do that, you get the rest of your life to do that." And he wasn't really into, he wasn't a guy that was into being a mega really rock star. He was a musician. He tried it. He was a success of it, and he wanted to move on.
He was an old soul. When you met Randy, he was incredibly knowledgeable. He had that inner peace that I was talking about. He had a strength with him that a mature man would have.
Randy would drink, but like nothing like I would drink. I was just killing myself on a daily basis, and I just drank, And the road crew were renowned for drinking, so I always hang out with the drinkers. I loved him as a person. I loved him as a human being. I suppose at that time when he died, a part of me died with him, because he was the first person that came into my life and gave me hope.
Very rarely do you ever walk into a rehearsal room and you feel that magic, that electricity. And when I walked into this rehearsal room, it was like, your hairs stood up on your arms. There were 2 of the most special people I had ever worked with in my entire career.
If you were to sit down and try and manufacture what you think the epitome of a rock star should be, Randy Rhoads. I remember when we wrote Goodbye to Romance, I had this melody, and then I kept humming this melody. He lived in my house when I lived with my ex-wife in Staffordshire. And he said, "What's this song, a melody?" I said, "It's a melody of it." He said, "Well, sit down, we'll write it, So hum it to me, and he got the chords on the guitar, and we wrote Goodbye to Romance. Then Bob Daisley come along, he put the bass on, and we worked it all out. And with Sabbath, they would never have fucking dreamed of that,
The tour resumed on the 1st of April 1982. Honestly, there is so much to pack into the life of Ozzy Osbourne that I want to include as much as possible, but not bore any of you and go on for days. Ozzy struggled with depression and the loss of his good friend, but did manage to push himself to keep creating music. And in 1982, he appeared as lead vocalist on the Was Not Was pop dance track called Shake Your Head, Let's Go to Bed. It reached number 4 on the UK singles chart. In 1983, Jack E. Lee, an American musician, joined Ozzy to record Bark at the Moon. The album included many people, such as American heavy metal and hard rock drummer Tommy Aldridge, and former Rainbow keyboard player Don Airey. The album's title track's video was actually partially filmed at a Holloway sanitarium outside of London. It became a fan favourite, and within just a few weeks, the album became certified gold. It's even sold 3 million copies in the United States alone. Wow. 1986 saw Ozzy's fourth studio album, called The Ultimate Sin, released on the 2nd of January 1986 with bassist Phil Soussan and drummer Randy Castillo. At the time of its release, The Ultimate Sin was Ozzy's highest charting studio album. It was awarded platinum status soon after its release, and double platinum on the 26th of October 1994. In 1987, Ozzy commemorated the 5th anniversary of Randy Rhoads' death with Tribute. In honour of Randy, it included a collection of live recordings from 1981. Ozzy then came across American musician Zachary Philip Wilde, or Zach, who seemed to be perhaps the best replacement of Rhoads thus far. Together they recorded Ozzy's 5th solo album, No Rest for the Wicked. Now I genuinely cannot mention everything, you guys, but it's clear that apart from Black Sabbath, the band, Ozzy Osbourne proved he could also be successful in his solo ventures. His success continued into the early 90s with the release of the 6th album, No More Tears, featuring his power ballad, Mama, I'm Coming Home. The album got much radio airtime and on MTV too. Ozzy was awarded a 1994 Grammy for the track I Don't Want to Change the World for Best Metal Performance. America loved a bit of our Brummy Ozzy. A live album released 28th of June 1993, intended to be his last solo album, actually went platinum 4 times over. Amazing. Ozzy expressed his fatigue though with touring, but did release the 7th studio album, Osmosis, which again was hugely successful with its audience. He also resumed touring, and Geezer Butler even returned, but then left again. In 2001, Ozzy released his 8th studio album and work after 6 years had passed, called Down to Earth. This is a favourite of my dad's, and he really likes the song Dreamer. Followed by a live album in 2002. Down to Earth featured the top 10 single, Dreamer. In 2002, Ozzy had the absolute honour of being invited to the Golden Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, where he performed the Black Sabbath anthem, Paranoid. This was at the Party at the Palace concert in the grounds of the stunning Buckingham Palace. On the 8th of December 2003, Ozzy suffered an accident on his quad bike. He was rushed to hospital after he'd broken his collarbone, 8 ribs and a neck vertebra. Oh shit.
Ozzy, can you breathe? Not the keys. Don't worry, just take one of the bikes. Ozzy, can you breathe?
He had an operation to lift his collarbone, believed to be resting on a major artery and interrupting the blood flow to one of Ozzy's arms. He even stopped breathing following the crash and had to be literally resuscitated on scene by his bodyguard at the time, Sam Ruston. Whilst he was still in hospital, Ozzy and his daughter Kelly's beautiful duet of the Black Sabbath ballad, Changes, reached number 1 and was also Ozzy's first ever UK number 1 single. Awesome sauce. with his daughter too. How epic. Bet that cheered him up in his hospital bed, bless him. Kelly said he smiled and reacted with a hand gesture, but was unable to even talk at the time. He would recover from his injuries and went on to headline the 2004 Ozfest with the reunited Black Sabbath. Ozzy achieved a lot during his solo career days, so much to actually mention, but I also kind of bypassed the births of his children with Sharon, so just to mention a little about them now. So Sharon and Ozzy married on the 4th of July 1982, later confessing his choice of date, being Independence Day in America, was actually so he would never forget his anniversary. What a legend. Their firstborn child together was Amy Rachel Osbourne, and she entered this crazy world on the 2nd of December 1983. Her maternal grandfather is actually Don Arden, the English music manager and agent, and Sharon's father. Now she stayed mainly away from MTV's reality show of her family, the Osbournes. She felt like it would kind of put her in a box if she appeared on that show and I don't know, her talents wouldn't be appreciated otherwise.
Please welcome the madman of rock and roll, Ozzy Osbourne, and his 3 children. Let me just show you. Amy, Kelly, and Jack. Now, do you have anything like Father's Day in England, or is this because you know of it in America?
Do you know, Joan, I don't know, because this is the first time I've been home at this time of the year in God knows how many years. I've always been out on the road touring.
How long can you stay home before getting totally crazy?
Well, I've only been back home 2 days. I've just spent the last 6 months in Los Angeles recording my new album. I got back on Sunday. I'm still kind of jet lagged, but, you know.
What's a typical day like when Daddy's home? Does he get up in the morning with you and drive you to school or dress you? What does he do?
Yeah, he does that. Yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even have his driver's license.
You're giving me a bad image, man.
You have such a wild reputation, you know, you yourself, that a lot of parents are censoring your music for their children, right? Do you censor any music for your children? Do you say to them, I think you're too young to see this or too young to see that?
What I do, if I think something's too unhealthy for my children, I stop it. I mean, I wouldn't let my kids stay up and watch Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, they've already seen it anyway, you know.
If you weren't you, would you let them see your concerts?
They come to my concerts. I can't understand why people can't accept the fact that I'm an artist entertainer and it's like a clown, a guy that works in a circus. Do you see him walking around the street with his red nose and his makeup on? I'm just an entertainer. It's what I do for a living, and I enjoy what I do for a living, and it's great, you know. Long live rock and roll, you know.
How long do you want to still do it? Forever?
Well, as long as I've got breath in my lungs, and as long as I've got people that want to hear my music, I'll continue.
What about music? What kind of music do you like? Amy, what's your favorite music? Your dad's music?
Yeah, the dad's music's the best.
Okay. And what? And what after Dad's music? What about after Daddy? Who do you like to listen to?
I like to listen to Madonna, things like that.
All right.
Madonna.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Have you thought about it?
No, not recently.
Amy, do you get teased because your dad wears makeup on stage?
Do you get teased at school about what I do?
Yeah, I do a lot.
A lot?
And it really upsets me because I'm a really lucky girl of what I've got and things that I get.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you have a very nice daddy, and we like him very, very much in America.
She is in fact an actress too, like her other siblings, starring in Emily Bronte's MTV modern-day adaptation of Wuthering Heights, also providing the voiceover work for animation movies like 2014's Postman Pat. She also followed in her talented siblings' and father's path of music, recording and releasing her own materials. But opposite to her dad's music, she worked with synth pop instead. Along next came Kelly Lee Osbourne, born on the 27th of October 1984 in London, England. Kelly grew up travelling with her father on tour, living in more than 20 homes across the UK and the US.
Is that her?
What is this? What the fuck's the matter with you? Is that her?
We used to travel like this with our babies in the back.
For years.
We used to have the bus like this and then there'd be a crib here.
Give me a kiss. Come on.
Her maternal grandfather is Don Arden also. She attended private schools in England, including Pippa's or Piper's Corner School in Buckinghamshire. As many of us know, Kelly did choose to participate in the popular family reality series The Osbournes, and grew fame from the show for sure. She was very outspoken and loud, just like her parents. She was 17 when the show started. The crew were only meant to film for around 5 weeks and ended up staying for about 5 months instead.
Where do you want me to put my gun, Sharon? Under the bed.
Wherever you want to put it.
I'll put it under the bed.
It's been a pleasure to meet you, man. I've been a fan for a long time. It was the first concert I ever saw, Grand Funk Railroad, opening for you guys
at the Forum. Yeah, 71 that was.
Absolutely, greatest show.
Wow.
Thanks a lot.
Please don't get drunk or get stoned tonight. I'm fucking pissed off because I can't. Don't drink, don't take drugs tonight.
No, I don't.
Please.
I don't do that.
And if you have sex, wear a condom.
And you still asleep?
I don't know what planet I'm on. I feel like I'm got fired out of a cannon on Monday and I ain't landed yet.
I have to get up in the morning, really fucking... Well, I'm trying to get to fucking bed and you guys are singing fucking The Whole World's in My Fucking Hand.
You don't like that song? Would you rather sing something else?
I'd rather you shut the fuck up! Go shove it up your little pompous ass.
Mandarin, sing you a lullaby.
Where's the hand?
Follow the dog.
They were making fun of Dad. They said you were a crazy whore.
Yeah, they're right with that one.
Come on. The door. I think it's the cops.
We something about throwing an object or something. Was that happening? What was going on with that?
I threw a bagel and a piece of ham down.
Like my window is on their side of the house. I can't have a full night's sleep at all because of them. They'll have like their rave music on, and it just doesn't stop.
Don't throw bagels at them. Don't throw cheese at them. Don't acknowledge it at all. Just call them, or call us.
Kelly found the constant filming and pressure of being on camera all the time very stressful and was unprepared for such intensity.
Just say, well, there's Kelly right there. You'll have a microphone, and Carson will say, come on up here, Kelly, and they'll invite you up on stage.
Okay.
Is that kind of cool?
That's fine.
Hey, this is Ozzy Osbourne, and you're watching TRL.
The show was filmed in California, United States, where the family had a residence for several decades. Kelly would release her own fashion line in 2004 called Stiletto Killers, a rock-inspired clothing line. She too followed in Ozzy's footsteps in becoming a singer-songwriter herself. So much talent in one family man. Her debut album was Shut Up, released in 2002. Her second album is called Sleeping in Nothing. She would act as well. In 2004, she was in the Life As We Know It, an American TV drama series. She would too suffer with substance abuse admitting to addiction to painkillers and entering a rehab centre on the 2nd of April 2004. She would enter various others in the following years, suffering relapses. She did go on to better herself and her life, and modelled for a catwalk show in spring of 2006. She acted and provided voiceovers for movies like her older sister Amy. She co-hosted the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here Now. Kelly and Ozzy always displayed and seemed to have an extremely close bond and connection.
I'm really nervous.
Oh, don't be silly.
Because I know me, I'd probably go up there and trip and then land on my face or something.
Don't worry, it's live. No,
I know.
So, the F word?
I know I can't say fuck, I have to behave myself.
You can't say what? Terrible, isn't it, by the way, children speak these days?
But I learned from you, Dad, it's alright.
Alright, I need you to learn from the best, baby.
But she also got into trouble with the law briefly, like her father did, when she allegedly slapped a Daily Mirror columnist called Zoe Griffin at a nightclub in 2008. Whoopsie. I think she commented on a boyfriend or something. 2009, Kelly would take part in the very popular show Dancing with the Stars, placing 3rd. Wow, well done. She did various things over the years, enjoying the limelight as her father always had, and was successful despite her painkiller addiction, just as her father had managed to be throughout his own issues. Next came Jack Joseph Osbourne on the 8th of November 1985 in London. He would also move back and forth to America and the UK with his family. Even though he moved so often, Jack said he did not find it disruptive, describing his childhood as perfectly happy and contented. His school life was affected, though, due to the fact he suffered from dyslexia like his dad had, from just age 8, and ADHD by the age of 10, which Ozzy also believed he always had, but wasn't diagnosed, as pretty much no one was back in those days. He too was talented, just like his family, and at just 14 he was offered an internship at Virgin Records, a British record label. He would also help his mother Sharon in managing his father's annual touring festival Ozfest, advising and scouting for new and upcoming bands. The first Ozfest took place in New York, Pennsylvania, 20th of September 1996. Unfortunately, Jack would suffer addiction issues and his own demons too, drinking and smoking from a very young age, and being addicted to OxyContin, which I've only really heard of Z Nation. Doc and his OxyContin. If you haven't watched Z Nation and you like zombie programs, you need to give it a watch, by the way. I don't know why Walking Dead's so popular. Z Nation for the win. His addiction escalated when his mother, Sharon, was diagnosed with cancer, bless him. But his self-destructive behaviour came to a head when he attempted suicide with a cocktail of prescription pills and cutting himself with a shard of glass. But thankfully he too worked hard to rehabilitate himself. Jack starred heavily on MTV's The Osbournes, where he was seen as an unruly teenager who loved to party and fight with his sister Kelly and get into trouble in general.
Jack got home at 4:20, so... The thing is that I was worried sick Ozzy that he was fucking dead in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. And he's pissed off at me because I told Sharon.
He smokes a bung, you must tell me, because he's gonna have that fucking thing shoved up his butt.
Just not getting on with Melinda too well.
Fuck you, Melinda. Fuck
Jack,
you.
no, Jack.
Melinda, fuck you.
Why don't you just do the fucking right thing, son? It's a man that can apologise. Darling, whether you like her or whether you don't, she lost a night's sleep worrying her fucking self to death whether you were going to come home, been mugged, stabbed, shot, or fucking arrested. You just swallow your pride and say, I'm sorry, it's no big fucking deal. She's not going to get on the roof of the Highlands out loud Highland and go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Osbourne has just apologised." It's all fun and all games and fun and no work. You've got to do a certain amount of work.
What happened, Jack? No, Jordy gave me like this little knife for Christmas, and they fucking take it away.
If you get busted, I'll fucking bust your ass,
okay.
Man. Don't fuck with knives, man. Don't go out with a fucking t-shirt with cocaine on your fucking t-shirt and a fuck. Give me the fucking knife. How long you a fuck if you hates me? I just won.
What channel's the fucking History Channel on? Stop it! Well, Kelly, why don't you just call your boyfriend?
Speaking of which, you need to stop with your comments.
As a brother, you had to give someone shit about, your sister shit about a boyfriend.
But you
What if
keep
I
saying
sat
stuff
down?
to people, and people come up to me and goes, "Why didn't your brother like him?"
Because
just don't
I
say it.
just
Just say no comment. It doesn't matter, Jack.
Right.
Don't say anything at all if you don't have anything nice to say.
He fucking proposed to you, the fucking scumbag. Fucking
Yeah.
scumbag. Scumbag!
He did not propose to me.
Then what's that little thing? What's that ring on that
Such a-
finger?
This
What's
Jack,
that?
Mom gave
That's
me
right,
this
she
ring,
did.
you fucking idiot.
That's right, and you're probably gonna go to like Kmart and get you one of those rings out of the machine.
You're so superficial. It's disgusting.
Superficial's a good thing, right?
No.
You're right.
It's just Kelly.
Is it impossible for her to talk normal now?
Hi, Jack. How's your arm?
Where was that from?
Kelly bit me.
Jeez. Keep
That's
her mouth
a fucking
shut.
nasty bite, Shannon. When you pause it out, put some more of that cream on and it'll get the bruise. It's really good stuff.
It smells like toothpaste.
It is.
He would appear on season 6 of Dawson's Creek, among other things like the Olsen Twins movie A New York Minute and his own show Jack Osbourne, Adrenaline Junkie. Jack would pose semi-naked in 2005 for Cosmopolitan to raise money for testicular cancer and took part in Sport Relief. He again, very talented, did many of his own ventures, including when he made and produced a documentary about his father titled God Bless Ozzy Osbourne, premiering in April of 2011, and worked for Fuse News between 2013 and 14. He starred alongside his father for the History Channel in the US worldwide buddy travelogue series, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, and was on 2013 Dancing with the Stars, so basically all of Ozzy's family is talented. Even his wife Sharon, who has been Ozzy's manager throughout a huge part of his career and success, never allowing him to quit when life got rough.
My wife Sharon is the leader. We all depend on her for everything, you know. I mean, even me. I'm like the monkey on the piano. I do the jumping up and she plays the tunes.
He was really good. I could tell that he was a little bit uncomfortable, but he did good. Now you come back and talk to him.
Who?
Next time.
What?
I said next time you'll come back and talk. You'll be a talking guest instead of a singing guest.
Oh.
Right?
When's that, next week?
No, a little later.
Stop it.
Why are we married? I bet you do when you go out.
No, I don't think so. Please spare me. Seriously.
What's wrong with it?
Too old.
Oh.
That's very nice. You wait till
Thanks,
you're
Cal.
50. How old is her?
But were you never a wild rock chick? I mean, were you always the sensible? You must resent being always considered the sensible
Well,
girl.
in the beginning she was.
Yeah.
I used to drink to keep up
did.
with him,
Yeah,
but
I
I
can
was
say
like,
it's
you know, 2 wine gums and I was like anyone's. I was
That's how I pulled her. That's how I pulled her.
Her go out. Is Bert still in town? Well, I'll call him. I'll call him a twat. I've told her over and over about those phone calls. Never wait in for a phone call. If he doesn't call when he says he is, just go out.
Who are you talking to?
Melinda.
Oh. Right here, Melinda. Melinda!
Melinda.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about that little pervert.
He is the most romantic man I've ever met in my life.
I was married before, and for 10 years, and I drove it insane with it.
In the morning, what he'll do is he'll come in the morning and he'll go out in the garden and pick me a flower and wake me up and stick it under my nose. And we have like candlelight dinners by ourselves, and he's totally something that nobody would ever expect Ozzy Osbourne to do.
I've now met someone else that's as insane as me.
I'm a professional lunatic. That's why I think actually he's marrying me.
Every time Ozzy goes out to start the tour, it's very stressful for him.
I just really can't handle it anymore.
After Jack's birth, Ozzy went on to have a vasectomy, but he does have many grandchildren, who I imagine are also pretty talented, following these genes. So in 2015 now, guys, Epic Records confirmed that Ozzy was working on yet another studio album. In 2019, Ozzy released that he'd finished the album, following his collaboration with Post Malone. Take What You Want. It featured at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. This was also Ozzy's first US top 10 single in 30 years. Now, over to some of Ozzy's controversial and at times just utterly gobsmacking antics. He adopted the name Prince of Darkness to keep to this darker persona and music style, and portrayed himself as Madman of Rock. This in turn drew a lot of attention from religious groups like Christians. Many accused Ozzy and Black Sabbath as being a devil worshipper, and even accused them of promoting Satanism. I'm sorry, I've just got to laugh a little here. They just were not prepared for heavy metal rock music and didn't understand it, if you ask me, that is. Ozzy wholeheartedly, fully denied any of these claims. Now, a lot of people remember Ozzy for disturbingly biting the head off a bat on stage. But before the bat incident were the Doves. Back in 1981, after signing his first solo record deal, Ozzy, totally out of nowhere, bit the head off a dove. What the fuck? This was even during a meeting with CBS Records executives in Los Angeles. He initially planned to release the doves in the air as a sign of peace, but due to his heavy intoxication, he instead chose to bite its fucking head off. What the hell, you guys? Don't do hardcore drugs. It wasn't over. He then spat the head out, and with the blood now dripping from his face, he was escorted out by security, and on his way, repeated the same actions on another of his peace doves. Oh my god, no one said the doves themselves needed security. God damn. He was remembered for his outrageous stunt, and it disturbingly became one of the reasons he became so famous. Then, whilst performing on stage on the 20th of January 1982, Ozzy bit the head off of a bat. A 17-year-old called Mark Neal, who attended the show, had thrown what he claimed was a dead bat. But not only was this disease-infected being very much alive, it also managed to bite Ozzy, which resulted in him being vaccinated against rabies. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Okay, this next part really made me laugh and equally shake my head. On the 20th of January 2019, Ozzy commemorated the 37th anniversary of the crazy bat-biting incident by releasing an Ozzy plush bat with a bloody detachable head. And they sold out within hours. Ozzy's music was allegedly linked to various crimes and a suicide in 1984, and a multiple murder in 1983. He was taken to court for various, and all were dismissed, for the crimes being linked to listening to Ozzy's dark music, as are the reasons for the crimes being committed in the first place. You're not getting off that easy.
The original idea was I had bought these 2 doves to throw up in the air when I walked in. Throw the carcass on the table, which they all just went, freaked them out,
On the 18th of February 1982, in Texas, whilst wearing his future wife Sharon's dress, when apparently she had taken all of his clothes away so he couldn't go out, he decided, well, I'll just put on your clothes instead. And he was near the Alamo in Texas. Ozzy drunkenly urinated on the Alamo cenotaph, also known as the Spirit of Sacrifice, which was made in honour of those who died at the Battle of Alamo, which of course was hugely disrespectful and landed Ozzy with a ban from entering the city of San Antonio in Texas for a decade.
And the other thing is that you were in Texas in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you can tell this if you like.
Go on.
And your wife, in order to stop you from going out on the beer, nicked all your clothes.
Yeah. So I nicked one of her dresses and went out and got pissed. So here am I, at 7 o'clock in the morning, with a bottle of Hennessy, and I want to go for a leak. I got this green evening dress on, and this old wall. Well, where are you going to go for the leak? So this old wall. So I'm having a leak, and this big Texan bloke comes down with his policeman, and I'm only urinating up the Alamo.
We're such a point out, it's a sacred building in Texas, right?
So this guy says to me, "You goddamn hippies," he goes, "how would you like it if we were to go to your country and urinate at Buckingham Palace?" I said, "I wouldn't give a shit, mate."
This part's really disturbing, you guys, so warning. But this is a stark reminder to never become heavily addicted to alcohol and hard drugs. To skip this and avoid this next part, go to about this time. Ozzy would shockingly admit that back in the 1980s, during an apparent drug-fueled rampage, he went on to shoot 17 of his own pet cats. Like, what the hell? That is awful, isn't it? Oh my god. Like, how much drugs and alcohol have you got to have in your system to pick a gun up and shoot 17 of your own pets? No words. But despite his drunken and drug-fueled antics, he actually had a really sweet side and heart too. The side that mainly his beloved wife got to enjoy over all the years they were together. He gave to multiple charities like Birmingham's Children's Hospital, Save the Children, and Elton John's AIDS Foundation, plus much more. On his 65th birthday, which was the 3rd of December 2013, Ozzy requested that his fans, to celebrate, would donate to the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity, based in London. Oh, I love that. Ozzy also wrote a song for his daughter Amy, which appeared as a B-side on his 7th album, called Osmosis, 1995. At the end of the song, Amy can be heard saying, "I'll always be your angel," referring to the song's chorus lyrics. It's quite beautiful. Although when I listened back, I genuinely couldn't hear her saying that, but that's what I read it says. Lovely song. He also wrote one called My Little Man, which too appeared on Osmosis, and this was made for his son, Jack. Ozzy preferred to stay away from religious talk, stating, "I never talk religion. I don't understand organised religion, but I strive to be good, although it feels good to be bad sometimes. I totally agree, Ozzy. As a whole, we Brits are a lot less religious than people in the United States. As a whole, I mean, there's obviously a lot of religious people here in the UK, but I have noticed that. Ozzy said that at one of his gigs, he had Christians who were protesting because of his music. You know, the ones who believe that he worships the devil or whatever. I'm sorry, but that just says more about them and their religious beliefs than any of Ozzy's songs, personally. Well, he hilariously decided to grab a broomstick with "Have a nice day" stapled to it and physically joined the protesters. He said they didn't even know I was there. Oh, that's just brilliant. Go on, Oz. He has stated, though, that he is Christian and was christened so. He would attend Sunday school, but just didn't take much interest in it. But he believed in God, just that you don't have to go to church to believe in God. And I once again agree. Ozzy was a member of the Church of England and would also pray before each show. Ozzy has always been very upfront, honest, and indeed opinionated, as he portrayed on his MTV reality family show. He was critical of Donald Trump in his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Ozzy said that Trump is acting like a fool. If I was running for president of the United States, I would try and find out a little about politics, as the fucking guy you've got in there now doesn't know much about it. I remember when he was advising people to inject themselves with bleach or Dettol or something. Dear Lord. Apparently, in 2020, after Trump must have used Ozzy's song lyrics in one of his campaigns, Ozzy issued a statement forbidding Trump or any other campaign from using his music without approval. Later in 2024, Ozzy said, "Donald Trump is a felon, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Felons can't own a gun. He can't own a gun, but he could start World War III on his own." And ain't that the fucking truth? He certainly could. Too easily. Ozzy's viewpoint was anti-war in general, but he didn't object to using proportionate means in just wars. For example, in the song War Pigs, my brother Andrew's favourite, Ozzy sang against the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as excessive. But in the song Thank God for the Bomb, from 1995, Ozzy sings in support of the policy of nuclear deterrence in the Cold War. In 2022, Ozzy expressed his support for Ukraine following Russia's full-scale invasion of the country. He also dedicated his 13th and final studio album, Patient Number 9, to Ukraine. He pledged to donate all proceedings to the Third Wave Volunteers organisation. Showing his soft side again. He and Sharon also announced that they plan to host 2 families of Ukrainian refugees at their Buckinghamshire estate. That's truly really lovely. Now, I kind of skipped a little bit of the Black Sabbath days when I went off on a tangent about Ozzy's solo career. Honestly, you guys, it's really hard to put these episodes together, and I always try my very best putting my script together and hopefully making it flow. But yeah, it's so hard. I'm trying my best for you. I'm no professional, this is just my hobby. But I'm going to take you way back now for a hot minute, to the late 70s, when at the request of other bandmates, Ozzy rejoined Black Sabbath, where the band went on to spend 5 months at Sound Interchange Studios in Toronto, Canada, where they wrote and recorded their 8th album together, Never Say Die. Sounds like a Bond film. But Tony Iommi stated it took quite a long time. We were getting really drugged out, doing a lot of dope. We'd go down to the sessions and have to pack up because we were too stoned. Ozzy stated to Sounds, a UK pop and rock music newspaper in 1978, "I get high, I get fucked up. What the hell's wrong with getting fucked up? There must be something wrong with the system if so many people have to get fucked up. I never take dope or anything before I go on stage. I'll smoke a joint or whatever afterwards." I have to agree again. I know for a fact some of the best music ever written and recorded were influenced by either smoking the good old bud or other drugs and alcohol. Plus, we know of so many artists who have suffered substance abuse and even died from it, like the very talented Amy Winehouse and the legend Jimi Hendrix. Tony Iommi commented that although all of the bandmates consumed alcohol and took illicit substances, it was in fact Ozzy who had the unhealthiest lifestyle of them all. But he did add that despite this, Ozzy was still typically the one left standing at the end, when everyone else was out for the count. Such a British term, that, out for the count. When Ozzy was originally fired from Black Sabbath, he went on to spend the next 3 months locked in his hotel room with just his alcohol and vast amounts of illicit substances. Ozzy would later feel bewildered that his body even endured and withstood 40 years of drug and alcohol abuse. His longtime guitarist Zakk Wylde compared him to King Kong and Godzilla combined, saying, "Seriously, he's hard as nails, man." His dismissal from Black Sabbath was strongly contributed to Ozzy's unhealthy lifestyle and how it would interrupt tours and performances a lot. He would be inebriated constantly and was even often so hungover he would just straight up refuse to perform at all. His voice on stage too was highly affected from all of the smoking, drinking and drug use, and many shows of the Diary of the Madman tour were just simply cancelled. Certainly not good for Black Sabbath and their loyal fans. Ozzy often would become aggressive when drunk too, as many people do. The band grew tired of his constant antics and lack of support. On the 27th of April 1979, at Iommi's insistence, Ozzy was ejected from the band. And I know, by the way, guys, for the whole first part of the documentary I was saying Tony Iommi. I just thought it was a capital L, not an I, so I'm sorry about that. It is indeed Tony Iommi, as I was corrected on Facebook. Ozzy claimed he would have died if Sharon had not offered to manage him. This saved Ozzy and his solo career. Sharon literally held it all together for Ozzy. Always there for him, a constant supporter and reminder to never give up. She loved Ozzy with all of her heart and being, and was his lifeline on many occasions. They suffered their own marital demons, as you could say, but they always remained and stuck together, their love, devotion and relationship as a whole being just like Ozzy, as hard as nails. The rock legend suffered in his own health for most of his life though. He experienced tremors for some years and linked them to his drug abuse. But in 2003 he found out it was a genetic form of Parkinson's disease. He would take medication for the rest of his life to combat his shudders and tremors. We also saw just how poor his hearing was, even back in the early 2000s on the Osbournes, where he was known for constantly asking his family to repeat themselves. Perhaps that's the heavy metal hearing?
Sharon! Sharon!
Dad, I hate Jack.
What do you say? What do you say about him?
I hate Jack.
Oh, don't be stupid.
You know how Jack wants to be like Mr. Music Man and like be in the music.
Do you know when Jack wants?
You know how Jack wants to be in the music business and like do what Mum does eventually someday.
Yes, I'm with you. You going shopping?
Yeah. Daddy, come and say goodbye.
Recording 6 months without seeing the children?
Sorry?
Do you any censoring?
I beg your pardon?
On the 6th of February 2019, Ozzy was hospitalised due to flu complications, postponing the European leg of his No More Tours 2 tour. I think it says 2, sorry. Described as a severe upper respiratory infection, by February the 12th, 2019, Ozzy was actually moved to intensive care. All plans for 2019 were cancelled when Ozzy suffered a fall, at the time still recovering from pneumonia. In 2020, he also revealed he had emphysema, so yes, he indeed suffered with his health. On the 8th of August 2022, Ozzy and Iommi made a surprise appearance during the closing ceremony of the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. This marked Ozzy's first live performance in 3 years, following a period of ill health. Sorry, I kinda did skip some of Black Sabbath days, guys. This is so hard. I'm no professional, but I'm trying. This is purely my hobby and passion, and in remembrance of Ozzy. Nothing professional. Forgive me. So the great Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself, and the godfather to heavy metal, received several awards for his contributions to the music industry and community, including his Grammy Award for the 1994 track I Don't Want to Change the World for the best metal performance. In 2004, at the NME Awards in London, Ozzy received the award for Godlike Genius. That's a pretty cool one. In 2005, he was inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame, both as a solo artist and as a member of Black Sabbath. In 2006, he was inducted into the US Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, with Black Sabbath bandmates Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, and Geezer Butler. In 2007, Ozzy was honoured at the 2nd annual VH1 Rock Honours, alongside Genesis, Heart, and ZZ Top on Broad Street in the Birmingham Walk of Stars. Ozzy had a star placed for him, presented by the Lord Mayor of Birmingham on the 6th of July 2007. Ozzy said about his award, "I am really honoured. All of my family is here, and I thank everyone for this reception. I am absolutely knocked out." In 2008, former Guns N' Roses guitarist crowned Ozzy with the prestigious Living Legend Award in the Classic Rock and Roll of Honours Awards. Past recipients included Alice Cooper, Jimmy Page, and Slash. In 2010, Ozzy won the Literary Achievement honour for his memoir titled I Am Ozzy. The book debuted at number 2 on the New York Times hardcover non-fiction bestseller list. Then in May of 2015, Ozzy received the Ivor Novello Award for Lifetime Achievement from the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors in London. In 2016, he attended the naming of Midland Metro Tram after him in Birmingham. For his various performances over the years, in 2021, Ozzy was inducted into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. In 2024, Ozzy was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his solo career, and on the 30th of June 2025, 1 week before their farewell Back to the Beginning concert, both Ozzy and all of the original bandmates of Black Sabbath were each made free men of the city of Birmingham, a true honour to bestow. So my dad, my lovely pops, who was around the same age as Ozzy, when Ozzy became famous, early 20s, my dad would have been around 17, exploring the new world of heavy metal rock. He pretty much instantly loved it, and both Black Sabbath work and his own solo stuff. He quoted to me Ozzy's 8th studio album called Down to Earth as being probably his favourite. This was released 16th of October 2001, and includes hit songs like Gets Me Through. I like that one. My pops explained this song as Ozzy basically saying, I don't worship demons or devils. It's a persona I enjoy and that works. Defo worth a listen to, you guys. With lyrics, I'm not the kind of person you think I am. I'm not the Antichrist or the Iron Man. And the one my dad specifically mentioned on this album and that he always really liked is called Dreamer, a much slower tempo and calmer vibe My dad's like me and enjoys a whole wide range of music, but he's a big softie at heart and really likes the emotional songs too, like this one. Ozzy once again showing his versatility and adaptability to change from heavy metal rock to slower ballads and still achieve greatness and success for decades. Through all of Ozzy and Black Sabbath's music history, instead of singing about love, peace, and psychedelic experiences, they focused more on war, like in War Pigs and Hand of Doom, with death, than topics such as insanity and drug abuse, with Paranoid and Fairies Wear Boots. My tummy will not stop rumbling. I'm very sorry if you hear that, guys. I've not really eaten properly for about 2 weeks now, so... And then things like environmental destruction and dystopia with Children of the Grave and Electric Funeral. These topics faced the darker realities of life and also made many people relate to the music in all different ways. Ozzy has a kind of haunting yet raw and emotional voice, which suited some of the unsettling themes to their songs perfectly. His delivery, melodic, but also eerie, often floating above the heavy instruments, also worked incredibly well with many of Geezer Butler's lyrics, which displayed his fascinations with horror, philosophy, and more subjects. And against Tony Iommi's guitar tuning and playing style, usually consisting of Tony tuning his guitar down around 3 semitones or more, making the tone heavier, sludgier, and more ominous, was a match made in heaven. Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne's farewell charity concert, called Back to the Beginning, Mama, I'm Coming Home, was announced by Sharon Osbourne on the 5th of February 2025. I think she might have been with Tony Iommi as well, or someone else. The name Back to the Beginning refers to the band's formation in Aston. Ozzy insisted to, in his words, give back to the place where I was born. Bless him. It was a week before the show that the 4 original band members were named Free Men of the City of Birmingham. To coincide with the event, the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery launched its Ozzy Osbourne Working Class Hero exhibition, where many of his awards, memorabilia and photographs were proudly displayed for thousands of dear fans to admire and enjoy close up. A mural depicting the band and Ozzy was painted by artist Mr. Murals outside of Birmingham New Street railway station and is absolutely awesome. This guy has some mad painting skills and talent. I would love to see him work in person, and I really want to go and visit this too. On the 29th of June 2025, the band personally visited the phenomenal artwork and signed it too. An honour for Mr. Mural. His son Jack hosted the premiere cinema screening of The 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne at Millennial Point on the eve of the concert. Tom Morello served as the musical director for the concert. He stated his intention was to make it the greatest heavy metal show ever. The stadium event was produced by Live Nation, where a revolving stage was utilised to more easily transition between acts. The concert took place at Villa Park Stadium in Aston, Birmingham, and included a number of performing artists like Lamb of God, Tool, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, my favourite, and many more. It must have been epic. I mean, what a send-off, you guys. 45,000 tickets were sold for the Goodbye concert, and incredibly, but no surprise either, all 45,000 sold out within just 16 minutes of their release. Wow! 150,000 people waited in a virtual queue for the opportunity to attend. Around 20% of the ticket sales were purchased by international fans, with people flying all the way across the world just to see Ozzy and the many amazing performers. Altogether, a staggering £140 million was raised by the once-in-a-lifetime event, all for charity, which will be divided equally between Acorns Children's Hospice, Birmingham's Children's Hospital, and Cure Parkinson's. A fantastic turnout for Ozzy's final farewell, and all for charity. So lovely and heartwarming. None of the acts were paid, only receiving reimbursement for their travel expenses. The event was streamed on pay-per-view and peaked at 5.8 million concurrent streams. Wow. The epic concert lasted 10 hours from 1 p.m. until 11 p.m. Jason Momoa hosted the event, and Sid Wilson from Slipknot performed a pre-show DJ set while fans entered the stadium. It concluded for the final live performances from both Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. It also marked the first time since 2005 that the original lineup of Ozzy, Tony, Geezer and Bill had performed together live. Ozzy, at this point, unable to walk due to his advanced Parkinson's disease, sang his heart out on stage while sitting on a perfectly made and Ozzy-inspired throne adorned with bats. Like the fucking king of heavy metal rock music that he always had been and continued to be. The show included a drum-off between multiple drummers at the midpoint. Oh man, I bet the atmosphere and music was seriously a once-in-a-lifetime experience for sure. I would have loved to have been there. Ozzy played the penultimate set with his solo band and then joined Black Sabbath to close off the show. Following the end of the show, Sid Wilson, who at the time was Kelly's boyfriend, got down on one knee backstage and alongside Ozzy, looking proud as hell, and proposed to his daughter. That's honestly so beautiful that Ozzy got to share such a special moment with his daughter like that, after always being so close.
Kelly, you know I love you more than anything in the world.
Fuck up, you're not married my daughter.
Nothing would make me happier than to spend the rest of my life with you. In front of your family and all of our friends. Kelly, will you marry me?
Wow. 17 days later, after the concert, tragedy struck and ultimately broke the hearts of so many across the globe when on the 27th of July 2025, at the age of just 76 and surrounded by his family, the pioneer and founder of heavy metal rock music left this world. The Prince of Darkness passed on to a better place, leaving so many legacies behind. His primary cause of death was ruled as acute myocardial infarction, basically a heart attack. Also coronary artery disease and Parkinson's disease with autonomic dysfunction listed as factors. Many public figures and musicians shared tributes to Ozzy, such as Elton John, who referred to him as a dear friend, a huge trailblazer who secured his place in the pantheon of rock gods, a true legend. Beautiful words there.
Proper English tea. Hello.
How you doing?
Hello, darlings.
Oh, I can't.
How are you?
What a welcome to come in and listen to that.
Oh, look at us. Do you only wear yellow gold? You don't wear white gold?
Yeah.
Good, you can have this. I'll give it
No!
to you. No.
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
No,
Please
no.
don't. Look,
No. You-
sorry.
David, put him on it.
Oh, God.
Then that's your shopping trip present. Hang on.
Oh, God. You shouldn't. I feel so bad.
Don't be so stupid, you silly old bastard.
No, that's incredible.
It's yours, my love.
Thank you so much. It's unbelievable. I feel so embarrassed. It's too much, Joe.
Did you see what else I just got it?
No.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
On the 30th of July 2025, Ozzy's funeral cortege left Villa Park, passing his child home and proceeded to Broad Street, which had been closed off for traffic, stopping at the Black Sabbath Bridge, where Ozzy's family and loved ones viewed the many flowers and messages left by heartbroken fans. They also met with the Lord Mayor. The cortege then passed by the awesome Black Sabbath mural and then the Crown, a former pub which had been called the birthplace of heavy metal, and where Black Sabbath played their first concert. Tens of thousands of people attended to watch the cortege pass by and give their final farewells. The same day, the band of the Coldstream Guards, one of the oldest and best-known bands in the British Army, performed a truly beautiful rendition of Paranoid. And honestly, this broke me. I did get shivers and shed some tears watching this for sure. How beautifully epic was that then? A private and more intimate funeral for Ozzy's family and close friends was held the following day. Ozzy had wishes to be buried at his family's Grade 2 listed house, a private family estate in Buckinghamshire called Welder's House, and his wishes were followed through. Now, I'm unsure how true this next part is, you guys, but it was reported that Ozzy made the decision to come off certain medication before his final performance so he could be completely lucid and right there with his thousands and thousands of fans. And if this is true, my gosh, that is so completely admirable. This man, this legend, would rather he sat through hours and hours of pain but be totally aware of everything and to be able to connect with his passionate audience than to be medicated and in less pain and discomfort but unable to put on the performance of his lifetime, his final farewell. What a guy. Now that's fucking heavy metal right there. Respect. And so, you guys, we have come to the end of Random Gems, the life of Ozzy Osbourne, a tribute to. And what a life this man has lived, with his rock, his manager, his supporter and lover right beside him till the very end. Thank you, Sharon, for keeping Ozzy and his talents alive all of these years. I'm sure he thanked you endlessly for always being there before he left.
What?
How did you get here?
Oh, we've been hiding from you all day.
Are you really? Where's the babies? Oh, in the hotel.
Oh, really?
We're like 2 floors below you.
You bastard.
Okay.
To the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy.
The Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness poop school. This is the new sign. I didn't want to come tonight. I was trying to get out of here.
Dad, happy birthday.
Thank you. I love you, man.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ozzy.
So Ozzy, the great Oz, the madman, the Prince of Darkness and the ultimate godfather to heavy metal, we thank you for all of the years of incredible music and TV performances, and for pretty much bringing heavy metal rock music to the world. You may have left us in body, but your legacies, your memory, and you shall live on forever through your music and memories. Thank you, Ozzy Osbourne. May you rest in heavy metal heaven. Thank you all for watching The Life of Ozzy Osbourne, a tribute to, with me, Random Gem. Please like, subscribe and follow for more episodes like this. I hope you enjoyed it. Long live rock and roll.
I can't understand why people can't accept the fact that I'm an artist entertainer and it's like a clown, a guy that works in a circus. Do you see him walking around the street with his red nose and his makeup on? I'm just an entertainer. It's what I do for a living, and I enjoy what I do for a living, and it's great, you know. Long live rock and roll, you know.
Sharon! Come on, Sharon. I'm fucking Ozzy. I'm the Prince of fucking Darkness. I love you more than your life itself. You're all fucking mad. No, fuck off. That's the way we are. We're the Osbournes. I love it.
Long live rock and roll, you know.